What is the mindset of a protector? One thing alone can make the difference between failure and success: your mindset. This podcast was created for protectors in the fields of law enforcement, security, and executive protection. Tune in every week where we look in the mirror to make real changes and learn how to achieve greatness by tapping into the Sentinel mindset. This episode is brought to you by The Arena. The Arena focuses on helping law enforcement and security professionals achieve their ultimate work experience, curriculum, and fitness goals. Visit thearenatoronto.com.
Have you ever wondered what it's like to be a police officer? Have you ever been on a ride-along? What are the things that are going through a police officer's mind before they start their shifts? We're going to be taking you on an amazing journey over this next month on a 4-part series on literally focusing on a constable per series on what their life entails as a police officer. You don't want to miss this. It's going to be lots of fun. Why don't we jump in and drive off? Actually, we won't be doing that. The police will be doing that. I'll be sitting in the passenger. You don't want to miss this on the next episode of the Sentinel Mindset. Okay, well, we are here right now for the 4th part series of the ride along. We have the incredible Constable Smith.
Stop it.
How are you doing today, man?
Not too bad. Yourself?
Amazing, amazing. I'm actually quite excited right now. This will be the 4th time doing this, but look, a little something about me. I always wanted to get onto the police service, so being part of this right now has been a really cool experience. Today we're gonna dive into the world of Constable Smith.
Let's dive.
Are you ready to go?
Absolutely.
All right, man.
Ready to roll?
Let's do it.
Okay.
So as we pull out, the first thing I'm gonna ask is, why did you choose a career in policing? Like, what was it that stood out to you?
Well, for starters, I always love giving back. I've always volunteered, always found a strong sense of fulfillment in that for me, right? So growing up, I played football. I played football at the high school of St. Augustine. And one of my coaches, who was mentoring me at the time, he was a police officer.
Okay.
And just seeing him interact with us, you know, kind of, I don't want to say direct me on that path, but I appreciated his mentorship.
Okay.
So going through my university career, I took criminology. I have an honors from the University of Bishops.
Okay.
And I always wanted to join law enforcement.
So it's always been something like from that. How old were you when this connected?
Oh man, grade 9. So that was probably back in like 2009.
Wow. So in grade 9, you started to feel this deep purpose that you want to do something in law enforcement.
Well, yeah, law enforcement for sure, but more always wanted to give back.
Okay.
So for me, personally, community is everything, right? I think, you know, being involved in the community is very important. I feel like, you know, just my background from being in sports and, you know, volunteering and mentorship in that avenue, I see the impact that I had as a positive role model for people in the community. Also, growing up, the impact it had on me.
Okay.
So I always unequivocally wanted to be in a position to give back that way.
Okay. Do you see a connection in sports and policing in certain mannerisms and traits?
Absolutely. I think personally, playing sports and being a police officer, I think like from a profession standpoint, policing is the ultimate team profession.
Okay, can you explain?
So we rely on each other, right?
Right.
We are as strong as our weakest link.
Right.
And I can just say from personal experience, from playing football and being in that team environment, policing is very similar in that we depend on one another. And that goes a long way. We have to trust one another. Like this is a very high stressful job.
Yes.
A lot can happen in the blink of an eye.
Right.
And it's that same type of mentality where, as in football, where you have to be able to rely on someone to that capacity, where you trust them with, you know, whatever it is that their responsibility is. That's very transitional into policing.
Right. So for yourself, I love what you said, because we use the same analogies within our workforce. And that is, everyone that comes in, you're coming in to contribute. And the lack of contribution as a role player could result in pretty much a very negative outcome, especially in this kind of work that you're doing right now.
if someone's not all in, or someone's not looking at the work with the same intensity or focus, they could actually create a harmful situation to yourself as an individual.
But I believe that's in anything, though, right?
Right.
In any profession you look at, obviously the jeopardy as an officer is a little bit higher.
Yeah.
But in terms of like being an operational team,
Yes.
where you're functioning at a high level and you're able to, achieve success,
Right.
you have to be able to rely on your team,
Right.
right? And again, speaking between my time playing football and my time policing, I can say that these two kind of careers and professions and sports, they're very interchangeable that way.
Okay. How long have you been serving for?
So I'm going on 7 years this year.
7 years.
7 years.
And I think when we were talking a little bit about this back in the green room, you were saying that that kind of time really went by fast.
Like it's crazy, right? Because people don't even realize who are in. I had to think about that 7 years have gone by.
Wow.
Because it really feels like, to me, it's so quick. But I believe that's attributed to the fact that, personally, I believe that when you do what you love,
Yes.
and you do what you feel like is purposeful
Yes.
and meaningful, then it doesn't feel like work.
Okay, so let's hold on to that. 2 years ago, I bought my dream car. It's not a Ferrari or a Lambo. If anyone, it's just a Jeep. Okay, the plain Jeep. It's my dream car.
Yeah,
and that's
man.
me. So don't hold that against me.
No, absolutely not, man. And,
But every time I get in the car, every time I get in the vehicle, I can't wait to drive it. And
100%.
I've never had that with any other vehicle. So to me, would you kind of share that same sentiment where when your day's off, and it's now time to get back on? Do you look forward to going back to your work? Or do you look at it as just a job?
No. So here's the thing. When you're on days off, again, it's good to disengage.
Yes.
It's good to, go back to your family, your friends, your support networks, your hobbies, your interests, just to kind of reground yourself.
Right.
But I would be lying if I said that, you do get anxious sometimes and you want to go back to work.
Right.
Right? And that's because, I've had the luxury of working with amazing people.
Okay.
I've had amazing, management, amazing platoon mates, and we obviously connect on and off the job.
Right.
So when we're on the job, time flies.
Right.
It's funny, I was actually talking to one of my buddies the other day, and because it's Christmas time, so, it's getting pretty busy on the road, and we told each other, that was the quickest 12 hours we ever worked, and it felt like we're here for, all of half a day.
Really?
Really.
Have you, we talked about the importance of team. Have you ever had a call, if you can share anything, that if you can, if not, I understand, but can you share a story where, you came to a call that out of your 7 years of service, it stands out, and how the team was all to be able to work together for a positive outcome? And by positive outcome is positive meaning as in it all went almost to the point of textbook, the way you guys all work together to make it,
Well, it's hard to pinpoint a specific call because we go to so many, and at any time while we're on the job, we try to achieve that goal.
Right.
And any call that we go to in any capacity, whether it's, you name it across the board, what you just kind of portrayed is what we envision.
Right.
Now, sometimes in this profession, we don't have the luxury of it going that way because of unforeseen circumstances that we're not privy to before getting to the call.
Right.
But again, going back to that team component, that we also have to trust each other to know that if something does go but not along the script, we got to be able to adapt and lean on each other in those instances, right?
Okay.
It's hard for me to pinpoint a specific call,
Right.
because every time we approach any call, we have that same mindset that you just explained
Yes.
in mind 100%.
Okay. Do you ever get scared on the job? In any situation that, or maybe the word scare, but does fear kick in for you at any point of your job? This is about any of that happen?
Yeah. You know what? In all honesty, because again, you can always expect the unexpected, but the unexpected could always happen.
Right.
So sometimes you will be surprised at the things that you actually see, and no matter what happens, we're all human.
Right.
So you might be taken back,
Right.
right? And you might have that minute or a second, because that's all we get in this profession, where
Right.
you realize, okay, this is real serious.
Right.
But again, you know, like, you always have to revert back to your training, revert back to your life experience, and revert back to like the fact that, you know, we're here for a purpose. And when you put on this uniform, that, yeah, it's okay to feel that way, but we also have a job to do too.
Right.
Yeah.
So what's your perception being of the public receiving you as an individual or as a police officer? The reality is this: if you were to take off this entire police outfit, put on like a sweater, some jeans and stuff, at the end of the day, your identity's changed just like that, right? But the uniform also creates a very different image to the public, right? What's your perception of how the public perceive you as an individual?
Well, to be honest, to be full, frank, and fair, I try to be the best person I can be, whether I'm in the uniform or not.
Okay.
So if I'm approaching you in uniform or I'm not in uniform, the respect that I'm going to demand of myself towards you is going to be the same.
Okay.
Now, I can't control how the public perceives me, whether I'm in uniform or not.
Right.
What I will say to that question is that whenever I approach anybody, whether it's in uniform or not, respect is at the utmost standard, right? Because I don't know your story. We all come from different walks of life.
Right.
So even going to a call where maybe someone might perceive me because I'm a police officer, and whatever past experience they have, I'm gonna still respect them, still be empathetic, and still approach them with the utmost empathy in that regard.
Okay, no, that's good. Look, you don't, even if someone in their core, if they don't believe that, in their core, by just the practice of doing that, that's strategy as well, right?
Man.
You know, at the end of the day, you respect somebody, they're gonna in turn provide that thing back for you. And at the end of the day, someone can argue, I don't have to give you respect. Someone can say that, but strategically, if you want an outcome to go in your favor, that's a great tactic.
I found in this job, okay, the amount of situations that you'll get yourself into and out of by just showing a level of respect and empathy to people, because you have to understand, right? When you call 911 or an emergency situation, there's a reason why we're there to intervene, right? And you have to understand that whatever the reason that this person or persons has reached out is because they need help. Now, whoever that is or whatever parties are involved might not be receptive to police.
Okay.
But in approaching the situation with respect, empathy, and understanding that these people require assistance, and giving them that respect, you don't even understand how far that takes you.
Right. That to me is words of wisdom.
Yeah.
Because again, the simple things that people can, you know, jump over are the things that are the foundation in your success.
100%.
There's a lot of new people that have, I think, been successful. They just started the December class, 2023, of getting into a service. They're going to go to CO Big College. They're going to go there for the 12, 15 weeks, whatever that is.
Yeah.
And then they're going to come and get ready to jump into the job. What advice would you give to them being 7 years on? Tips and tricks to succeed on the job.
Tips, again, I hate to sound redundant and be a broken record, but a veteran officer, when I got hired on, he just said, you always have to respect people.
Okay.
Doesn't matter what it is, doesn't matter where you go, in and out the uniform, that goes a long way. My tips would be, you have to remain empathetic.
Right.
You have to respect whoever it is you're dealing with, and you have to be understanding.
Right.
And you have to show compassion.
Right.
Right? Those things will, I'm telling you, will get you further in this profession, from what I've seen, than anything else.
Okay.
Anything else.
No, that's strong. And for yourself, you know, being on for 7 years, the next 7 years are probably going to fly by as well. But, but is there something that you want to go into a specialty? Like, is there a desire? Like, this is a place to do a prophetic prophecy right now. Just call it out into your life.
Well, you know what? So right now, I've just received a position within the Community Mobilization Bureau.
Okay.
So that's like engagement and proactive patrols within communities within the Oakville region.
Okay.
We have different community mobilization units set up within Burlington and, Milton, and we kind of all coincide to do our best to make a positive impact and change whatever police perception is about the community by engaging with them in ways that we do.
Right.
Now, I think this is a very fundamental and essential component because by engaging with the community, that's being like proactive, not reactive.
Right.
So instead of, calling us in a moment where, you might need some type of assistance, I'm coming to you and saying, hey, my name is Ryland Smith, the constable.
Yes.
I work within this bureau, and like, how can we be of assistance?
Okay. No, that's good. Ron, let me ask you this. You get a lot of training to be a police officer, and then you also get yearly training, okay? Like, I guess you got to qualify every year, right?
Yeah.
If there's something that you feel could benefit any police service as a whole, it'd be good to have something like this added as part of the syllabus. Could anything come to mind? Let me give you an example. There's been a lot of police services that have requested, or not individuals, that would be great to do, like Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, for example, because of the effectiveness of if you end on the floor, what do you do? Is there stuff like that, for example, that you think if it came on, it'd be great to have, or spend more time on? Or do you feel that everything that you get, even from the refreshers, really helps you equip? Like, do you need to do anything else?
I will just say this. One thing is that just for me personally, coming from a background where physical activities were like paramount to my success.
Yes.
Again, I would just say that any new officer coming in, if you are physically active, try to maintain that.
Okay.
Because there's going to be situations where when you go back to the basics of terms of how to deal with stressors and how to deal with time management and things of that nature, I found for myself, like going to the gym or going for a run or, going to pick up football with the guys, that to me was one of the outlets for myself.
Okay.
So I would say two things. I'd say, personally for me, it was physical activity to help myself deal with any of the stresses of the job if I just needed a minute to be in my own thoughts.
Right.
But I also say, understand that there is a life outside of policing, as in like your life, right?
Right.
So you got to make sure you maintain your hobbies, make sure you maintain that support network, make sure you maintain the family structure, friend structure, whatever it is that helps you deal with some of the things that you have to face on the job.
Okay, I see. What did you do before policing?
So before policing, I used to work for a logistics contractor.
Okay.
We worked out of AMJ Campbell in Mississauga.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And most people will ask, do I need to have a certain type of job to get onto the service so they can accumulate their life experience?
But you used it right there, life experience, right?
Yes.
Well, a lot of people interpret life experience as just job experience.
Life experience is life experience. I can't speak to like what, the recruiting department looks at.
Yes.
But I can speak to, for me and what I value more than anything is life experience, right? And I mean like just going out there and either figuring yourself out or, taking chances on things. And I remember when I was getting hired, I was so fixated on taking criminology. I wanted to though.
Okay.
But I remember I was talking to one of the recruiters, like this was like when I was in like probably in like high school. They said, take whatever you like.
Right.
Just make sure that you enjoy it.
Right.
So that you do well in it and that you generate that experience.
Okay.
Right. So I'll say that to anybody who's trying to pursue a career in policing, generate life experience is something that you enjoy.
Okay.
Something that you can use in situations where you have to be that personal person or you have to be that person of compassion.
Okay.
There's no kind of linear direction in terms of how to become a police officer, because we have people from all walks of life, from all backgrounds, from all ages that apply, and they're successful.
Okay. No, that's good, man. So doing the job for this long, what are the most enjoyable things that you find about the job?
Everything. I'm being honest with you. The only hard part I have about this job, the only challenge I face is waking up in the morning, because I like my sleep.
Yes.
All right. And being in this job, our hours vary, right?
Right.
So
How do you find that, by the way, the hours? Because I heard a little bit about the schedule, right?
we normally run a rotational schedule because we
Yeah.
have to cover day and nights. We're 24 hours worth for the public.
Yeah.
I'll say that probably is maybe one of the challenging portions that some people find, because it's not normal for that schedule. Like, we'll work 2 days and then 2 nights, and then some services have various continental schedule where it's like 2 days on, 3 nights. I don't know how they work, but
Yeah.
we just operate 4 days on, 4 days off.
Right.
And some people, that's a hard time adjusting when their whole life they're used to maybe going to bed at 9 p.m. Right, or 10 p.m. or working regular Monday to
Yes.
Friday schedules. So for me personally, my hardest challenge of this job is just waking up in the morning and getting out of bed, because when I get to work, like I said before, this doesn't feel like work to me.
Right.
Like this does not feel like work to me. I mean, it's a little bit lonely when you're up in the morning at 4 a.m. like shoveling the snow off your car.
Yeah.
You're going on the street because everyone else is sleeping. But once you get in that car and you're driving into work and you get here, like, you're here.
Okay.
And like full effect, whatever comes, again, we deal with it as a team and we deal with it together.
That's amazing, man. Can you talk about a situation where it's impossible to prepare for the unexpected, other than the fact that if you're on and alert, you can be in the best position to respond.
Yeah.
Can you think of a situation that happened where you were just driving like this, just nice and calmly driving, and then you get a call, or that just takes you now from 0 to 100 right now?
And again, this could be any call, right?
Okay.
I mean, this could be anything. Like,
Yeah.
I've had situations where, and we call this like the luck of the draw.
Okay.
The luck of the draw is because, like, we're a service where if I'm here,
Yes.
right, and something happens right there,
Right.
it doesn't matter, who's that way. If I'm the closest unit, I'm attending to that call.
Right.
Because I'm the closest officer in proximity.
Right.
So I've had calls where, it's about to be that time, you're doing some notes in your car, and literally around the corner, and like, a robbery happens. Or, unfortunately somebody overdoses.
Yeah.
Or, there's someone who's, mentally disturbed and they need assistance. So I can't even tell you. I'm the one guy that's always in that area where if something happens, I'll be like, okay, I'm right there. Let's go deal with it.
And I'm sure it's happened like 10 minutes before your shift's about to end.
Yeah, 100%. And this is why I say that, because for me, that's just the luck of the draw. Like,
Right.
if something happened, 10 minutes left of the shift, I'm the closest guy, that's my call.
Okay.
That's just me, right? Like, I'm dealing with it until it's done. There's no time constraint on this. There's no, like, oh, guys, I got to go home. It's like, 6:45.
Yes.
It's just, okay, we're here.
Right.
That's part of the job.
That's it, man. Well, look, being a protector, I'm gonna give you right now we're gonna do like a little analogy here right now.
Give it to me, man.
Say it's your day off, Saturday morning. You're off to Costco. Actually, not Saturday. Probably you woke up in the afternoon because you like your sleep, right?
Yeah, I do love my sleep.
Okay, so
remember that,
so
right?
It's 1 p.m. You head
Yeah.
over to Costco. It's absolutely packed. You're doing your grocery shopping, and then you see a theft taking place. Now you're not working, right? You're off. Are you inclined? I know there's the Good Samaritan Act, and everyone has the opportunity as a civilian to make an arrest, but are you inclined, like, because it's so in you that I'm gonna jump in, and it doesn't have to be this Costco analogy. I was on a cruise one day with my wife, and a fight broke out, and she looked behind, and it was like Clark Kent's gone. Like, now I'm trying to stop the fight.
Yeah.
And she's like, "What are you doing? Why are you doing that?" I'm like, "I don't know what it is, but I have to.
I have to get
I have to
involved."
just help." Do you find the same thing about
Yeah,
yourself?
100%. There's actually one time happened by about, I don't know when it was, but I was driving. I was on I think it was the 401, and I was driving by, and there was just a car in a ditch, right? And I was like, oh shoot, I got out. I made sure everyone was okay. I don't even know if I identified as. I just made sure everyone was okay.
Right.
And then once they said, yeah, we're okay. Our tow truck's on the way. I was like, okay, like, you guys are good. That's fine by me. Like, tow truck's on the way. Like, all right,
Right.
you guys are in good hands.
Right.
And again, I'm sure, in all fairness, I'm probably not the only person, not even
Yes.
just police officer, right?
Right.
Just the only person that, like, you know, you might see something that's questionable, like whether it be, you know, the grocery store and the gym, you know, the gas station, where you're like, hey, like, you know, kind of take it easy, or something along that nature, right? And again, it's just in you.
It's almost like the way we describe it. It's like a calling. Like it's your calling. It's like you're led. You're led to that situation.
100%. And that's why I say, like, I can't really stress it enough for me personally, like, that's why this doesn't feel like work to me.
Okay.
I tell my bosses all the time, so listen, the hardest part, getting out of bed,
Yeah.
putting the clothes on, getting into work, but like once you're here,
Right.
like you're here.
Right. No, that's great, man. And that, again, that's a testament to someone that loves the job and doing it. So obviously, this is a career that is not easy to get into. It's highly competitive. Every service is looking for the best. Again, we like to always bring this out, but I want you to just kind of, maybe, if you can, throw out an example of something that can relate to you, or an experience from someone else that you know got into the service, something that they did as a characteristic or as a trait that helped them get into policing. Anything it could be. It could be like they were great communicators, or it could be like the little that they were able to do what they excelled at. What advice would you give to anyone that wants to really make themselves stand out?
I would say perseverance.
Okay.
And the reason why I say that is because, like, communication is one thing, and there's a whole bunch of, you know, characteristics and traits you can throw out there that would exemplify what is required for someone to be a good police officer.
Right.
But in terms of just getting into policing, like, because once you're in, all those skills are necessary.
Yeah.
It's perseverance, because, like, you have to understand that, like, things may not always go your way.
Yes.
But you have to know if this is what you want,
Yeah.
and you want to, you know, be able to be a police officer and put on the uniform and come out and help these people, like, and that's what you want, you have to just keep going.
Okay.
Like, if I give you an example, so when I was getting hired to policing, I'll always remember this. So we have, like, interview stages.
Yeah.
And I was like I think my second last or my final interview, and a buddy of mine was getting married in Cuba. So I could have missed one of my best friend's wedding.
Right.
But I also knew that, you know, I had to prepare for this interview, because it's very, like, technical, and they actually very specific times where you've experienced, you know, this, and you have to rehearse, you have to prepare.
Yes, right.
So it was me and my buddy. He's actually with the service now, and was a friend of ours who went on this vacation, and we made a commitment. We said every morning before we even leave the room to go out to, you know, enjoy the festivities, you know, celebrate our friend, we're gonna stay and go over these examples every morning for the 7 days.
Right.
And we did. Every morning we woke up, doesn't matter what happened the night before, it doesn't matter, you know, how long we're out, you know, who we're out with, we woke up every morning, chose your room or mine. Went in, pen to paper, practice, rehearsed, so when we came back, we were able to be successful on that next step of the interview.
Okay. That's strong, man. As we're driving, I've noticed a lot of the drivers be ultra, like, there's just the presence of your vehicle is kind of keeping the lines in check. I'm not seeing people swerving. They're in their best behavior. However, not everyone is always paying attention, right?
Yeah.
What are some pieces of advice that you would give? Our audience is vast and listened to, but, you know, just in general, when you're driving, especially those that want to get into policing. Let me just rewind this. If people want to become a police officer, they should have a very good driving record. They should be, focused on making sure that they're the best on the road. But with that said, people do get tickets, right? And a lot of these things that happen, can they impact someone's career getting into policing if their driving is not that great, if they have some demerit points?
Well, there's a difference between, like, not having great driving and getting a ticket, right?
Right.
So, like, people make mistakes.
Yeah.
Right? Some people, you know, unfortunately might be in a situation where they're giving a traffic infraction.
Yes.
And, you know, they might have made that mistakes. Doesn't necessarily mean that they're not a good driver, right?
Right.
I will say this, driving in this job is imperative. Like, it's probably one of the most important skills besides communication and everything that comes with it, because no matter what happens, you have to get where you're going, or I'm no good to anybody.
Right.
So if there's a very intense call where they require an immediate emergency response, if I can't get there to use these skills that I've developed,
Yes.
then what good am I to my team?
Right. Right.
So, and you also have to understand that being in this vehicle, like, people around you, they do drive differently.
Right.
Right. They're not gonna, you know, do certain tendencies that they might normally do. I'll say you got to be as vigilant as possible.
Okay.
Understand that this vehicle, like, you know, it does bear the policing crest, and
Right.
people are aware of it, and you got to understand that while you're driving, like, people are looking to you to see almost like what you're doing next.
Right.
Right? Like, how far am I staying from the vehicle in front of me? How far is the vehicle behind me? You know, if I have to get somewhere now and I activate my light package, like, you know, how people move around to maneuver to give me space.
Yes.
I will say my only advice to any driver coming to policing is that try to be as spatially aware as possible when you're on the road.
Okay.
Know that you are driving a vehicle that people will take a double look at.
Yes.
I mean, it's not a Bentley, you know what I mean? It's not a Ferrari, but
That's
people
right.
do realize that, okay, this is a police cruiser, and, you know, sometimes you might have to yield to traffic because it might have to be somewhere to, you know, get to an emergency.
By the way, this model, what vehicle? This is a Ford what?
This is a Ford Expedition.
Okay, so
Sorry, Explorer.
Explorer. The engines of the Explorer have been modified, so they can obviously go faster than your average Ford Explorer, correct?
To be honest, don't quote me on it. I'm not sure.
Okay.
You got to talk to the boss about that. I'm not sure the logistics of this engine. I just know that these cars, they get the job done.
Okay. And listen, having these tools are important. What would you say has been one of your, and I mean, this is to you as an individual, biggest accomplishments doing this job?
Well, here's the thing. My biggest accomplishments doing this job is when, like, first of all, it's helping people. That's
Yes.
number one. Like,
Right.
number one is being able to be there for people when they need the help the most.
Right.
And it doesn't matter how it is. It could be a car accident.
Right.
It could be, you know, it could be someone who needs to go to the hospital because they're, you know, having in psychosis. It could
Right.
be the domestic where, you know, unfortunately things didn't work out and someone got upset, and now we're in a situation where it's hostile, it's violent, it's whatever the case may be. My biggest enjoyment in this job is getting to those situations,
Yeah.
doing my job, and trying to do the right thing
Okay.
at all times. And again, I'm not a perfect person by any means,
Right.
but I do know that being empathetic, and going back to what I said initially, where being empathetic, being respectful, and understanding that no matter what happens, you're dealing with people.
Okay.
These are people just like you and me, right?
Right.
Going back to what you said, like, when you take off the uniform, I'm still a person, right?
That's right.
And I still, whether I'm in uniform or not, you got to approach everyone with that same level of respect, because at the end of the day, like, we're all the same, right?
That's it. We talk a lot about failure in our show, about how to overcome failure. Now, many people apply to a service and they fail. I remember failing and not being able to move past it. Now, I took a very different career path after 2 or 3 attempts. But let me ask you this. Did you get on right away, or did you have any failure?
When I applied to Halton, I was lucky to be successful in my first time around.
Okay.
And I only applied to one service.
Okay. So to me, was Halton the service that you envisioned yourself applying to?
Well, so for me, when I was applying to various services, I went to all the information sessions.
Yes.
And I would just kind of bring my pen and paper, write down like what I do and I don't like. Because at the end of the day, we all want to be police officers, but you're still shopping,
That's right.
right? You're still looking out, saying, okay, which one do I like the most? Which one do I feel like would be the best fit?
Which one connects with you?
Which one connects with me, and which one I feel like, if I do be a part of this organization, I'll be able to be successful and contribute.
Right.
So, I mean, I went to Peel. Me and my buddy went to Ottawa because like we did it like together, right? As someone I got hired with, and like, hey, you go this one, I go that one, and because we finished university at the same time.
Right.
And then I remember I came to Halton, and I met one of the recruiters there, and I was like, yeah, this is it.
Okay.
I was just like, yeah, this is it. I told my buddy. So I actually went to 2 Halton information sessions because he wanted to go to one. So I'm like, I went to one by myself.
Yeah.
I'm like, dude, you got to come check this place out.
Yeah.
Like, you know, and then he came over here, and again, we went to the session, met with the recruiter, and then got the application in as soon as we could.
Can I ask, because I think this is important, and people do obviously exactly what you just spoke about, checking out different services. What was it about Halton that spoke to you, that connected, that resonated with your soul and said, this is where I need to be?
Well, to be honest, in that session that I had, the first one, again, not knowing anything about the service, I felt like the recruiter there was very interactive. Not saying other services weren't, but like very like, you know, we want you to apply.
Right.
Whereas like, and again, I'm not saying anything about other services, but I just felt like for me that was big, right? There's a lot of Q&A, a lot of, you know, open floor. We got to ask a lot of questions, which I did at other services, but then afterwards, you know, I went and speak to her one-on-one. Yeah. And a big thing for me was just like, you know, how Halton is very progressive.
Yes.
And how a lot of people,
truly is.
A lot of people are coming here, they're not leaving.
That's right.
And a big thing for me was, you know, when I was looking at other services, is just like, okay, like what's the retention like? Like how much people are coming and going and, you know, whatnot. And then that coupled with like the kind of open concept of like, yeah, like we're progressive. We want, you know, things of that nature.
Yes.
I was just like, I'm sold.
Okay.
I was sold.
Okay. And would you be able to kind of share maybe what a typical day would look like for you?
Well, a typical day in uniform capacity, like when I'm working frontline.
Yeah.
So I'm like the type of person where like, because we can do everything from our car.
Yes.
So when I get to work, I literally grab my duty bag, I load my car, I grab my taser, all my equipment.
Yeah. You do your check.
Do my circle check, I go to parade, and for me, I get right in the car and I'm out there.
Okay.
I'm the type of person that like, again, I'm for the community. I'm very community driven type of individual, whether policing or not. Like I volunteered throughout my entire life.
Okay.
I believe that you can have the most success like within the grassroots.
Okay.
Like within going into, you know, these places, talking to people, figuring things out, trying to do, you know, engagement. And then when I get into work, like I said, I grab my duty bag, I'm on the road.
Nice. And
I try my best. We're lucky because we have a lot of innovative technology, so I try my best to do everything I can from the car.
Okay.
But sometimes, like, if you know, have to effect an arrest and you have to bring someone back to the station, you know, at that point I would, you know, react appropriately. But like, I love being out here, man. Like this is my jam.
Amazing, man. You talked about volunteer work, and you're doing a lot of it. How important is it to give back to the community?
Oh, goodness, that's what it's about.
Right.
That's what it's about, man. Like, and I think for anyone who wants to be a police officer, if you can volunteer your time to anywhere, it doesn't matter what it is. And again, you got to kind of volunteer things that you want to be a part of, right? And it builds that sense of, you know, comfortability in being out there, because you're going to be out here a lot on the road,
right,
in situations that, you know, you don't know these people, but being able to interact, you know, develop those life skills, develop the ability to, you know, adapt to situations. I remember when I was attempting to apply, I volunteered at a homeless shelter in Brampton. Okay. And I was like a soup kitchen where, you know, I would go in and I'd work in the kitchen chef, and we'd basically, you know, serve up these hot meals to everyone inside. And again, like that was a little bit outside of my comfort zone, because I've never done something like, most of my volunteers been in sports or, you know, in mentorship and, you know, things along those lines. So then when I went to this place, it was different for me, right? Because like now I'm in a situation where I'm doing something that I haven't done before.
Right.
But again, I encourage people to take those chances, because that was probably one of my most rewarding volunteers, because not only did I get to help feed, you know, individuals who are hungry, I also got to hear stories. You know, people come from all different walks of life in these facilities, and it's good to kind of branch out and try to, you know, spread your horizons that way.
Okay, I like that, man. We're approaching the holidays.
Yes, we are.
And even though this is going to be put out after the holidays, what would you say would be some things that, just for the public in general, or for people to kind of, from a safety perspective, around the holiday, what they should be looking for, like things that they should be addressing internally, or road safety, snow coming down?
Yeah, well, you know what? I believe the holidays are meant to be, spent with family.
Yes.
So I would say, before we even touch on the safety component of this, just spend it as much time as you can.
Okay.
Right? I think that's like friends and family, and that, support network is the most important thing.
Right.
Right? Safety, just try to not do things that are going to get yourself in trouble,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
I mean, I feel like the general public has a good census, like what's right from wrong.
Right.
So I would just say, just try to do the right thing and enjoy the holidays.
Okay. Good, man. Good. Now that we've given a little dose of niceness, now let's go to the other side of the extreme right now,
Talk to
okay?
me, man. Talk to me.
So, have you ever been in a situation where you put the sirens on to pull somebody over, and the person ignores it?
Yeah. Right?
What's going through your mind? Are you thinking, are they truly unaware that they're not seeing all these lights flashing? I'll give you an example. My mom, sometimes I'm like, you can't be driving anymore, because like you're just only focused on the straight line. You're not seeing your surroundings. And she could be someone that, if she was pulled over or didn't pulled over because she saw the sirens, you know what I mean? Yeah. Could be because you weren't paying attention. How have you been in a situation where that happened and you had to, like, oh my God, this could be like a chase now?
So I've never been in a situation where I've attempted to pull someone over and they fled. But definitely situations where people would go, a lot longer before pulling over.
Right.
But again, I feel like in today's day and age, like the educational component of that interaction is just as important as enforcement.
Okay.
So, and I've pulled over cars, and when the police officer pulls over, no matter what happens, when you see these lights on behind you,
Yes.
you got to pull to the right.
Right.
Because I tell them, to educate them, I might be going somewhere where I need to get there now.
Right.
And these lights are on for a reason. We don't just put them on because, if I'm putting these on, it's because I'm either pulling you over,
Right.
or I need to go where I have to be.
Okay.
So, the educational piece would just always pull to the right.
Okay.
Right? The lights on, like we need a path. And if you're pulling over to the right and we're trying to affect a traffic stop, we're going to just creep up behind you.
Right.
So you'll know.
And should someone, like, I'll give you an example. I've been pulled over before, but I'm also very mindful of officer safety, making sure that if I'm going to pull over, that I'm not allowing you to walk into the road, because you know what I mean, you could be doing that. So
we appreciate that. Thank you, because not a lot of people do that. So thank you for that.
no, for sure, I appreciate that. But to me, like, is there certain things that people should also be looking at, just like common sense practices?
Common sense practice, I would say, if I was going to say something to the general public, is that when we're attempting to affect a traffic stop, although we are behind you, and I get it's a very high stress situation, you might be trying to ask yourself what I did wrong.
Right.
But just be mindful that this doesn't mean that traffic on the road is stopped.
Of course.
So there's going to be other cars either passing me or attempting to pass me, not knowing what I'm doing, or trying to pass you.
Right.
So although I'm trying to affect a traffic stop, just be mindful of the fact that there's other cars on the road.
Right.
Pull over only when it's safe to do so, and try not to stay in a live lane of traffic.
Okay.
So I've had situations where, like, if I try to pull someone over that's directly in front of me, they would just stop right here.
Okay.
And that's dangerous for me, that's dangerous for them, and that's dangerous for any cars trying to pass us.
Right.
Always remember to try to pull over when it's safe to do so.
Okay.
Put your vehicle in park, and ideally, if you could shut it off, that'd be awesome, because then that makes us aware that, okay, you understand that you've been pulled over, you understand there's a reason for the traffic stop. And once I approach your vehicle, you can articulate to me, and I can articulate to you why the stop was made, and we can have a conversation.
Okay. No, that's good. Have you ever had a situation where you pulled someone over and you were verbally abused?
I don't know if I want to use the word abused, but man, like I said, like, everybody in this world has an opinion, right?
Right.
And that's fair.
Right.
Like, some people are argumentative, some people are indifferent, some people, don't like getting pulled over, right? And there's definitely been situations where, I've pulled someone over, but and they might be, you know, upset. They might, you know, why'd you pull me over? But again, I feel like just slow it down, okay?
Yes.
I always tell everyone, the gift of the gap. Like, if you can communicate to someone that's really upset,
Yes.
like, hey man, look, this is why I did this. Like,
Right.
understand, like,
Right.
I only did this because of this.
Right.
I didn't, like, I'm not trying to jam you up,
Right.
but understand that what you did can't happen.
Right.
And you kind of tell them that way, and it lessens the blow. They're not that apprehensive anymore, right?
Not only that, but I would think strategically, if I pulled over, I'm like, officer, I'm extremely sorry for this. I completely am aware this should have happened. Like, that kindness could potentially create a better outcome for you.
That goes a long way.
Yeah,
Because,
and back to the respecting that we're talking about as well, right?
believe me when I tell you, like, that is everything, right? I've pulled over multiple vehicles, and you know, when from a police officer's perspective, if we pull someone over and say, officer, I know what I did was wrong,
Yes.
you're already like, we already say, okay, let's have a conversation.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
and make no mistake though, like, our job is to enforce, you know, legislation under the Highway Traffic Act. So
Absolutely.
if we pull you over, there's going to be a lawful reason why we've conducted this traffic stop.
Right.
But, you know, having this conversation with you where their interaction is, you know, a lot less aggressive and it's passive, and, you know, maybe you have an explanation, I'm here to
Right.
listen.
Right.
You know what I mean? I'm not here to just lay the law, put the hammer on you. No, like, okay, tell me what happened, you know.
Yeah.
And, you know, usually my common practice is we go from there.
Okay. No, that's key, man. That is key. Okay, so the one thing I do want to do, because I want to give big shout outs to Halton here, is I want you to just let the world know, because we do have a worldwide audience. And even though they may not know what Halton is, they do know what Canada is, and maybe what Ontario is. Those looking to apply and pursue a career in policing, what would you tell them? How should you be preparing for right now to get ready for before you get your application in? Try to at least make sure you have these things in check.
I would say there's a few things. Number one is physical fitness.
Okay.
This job is physically demanding.
Right.
And again, that's something that I've just been a strong belief in my entire life, that, you know, to be relied upon, I try to keep myself in the best shape so that if something happens, I can either hold myself accountable or know that
Right.
I did the best I could.
Right.
I would say volunteering. Not only is it show that you have the ability to give back, but it just shows the ability to put yourselves in situations that you might normally not do.
Okay.
Right? And I would even push it one step forward to challenge yourself, you know, try something different.
Okay.
I know when I did, initially, again, you know, I was uncomfortable. It didn't feel normal.
Right.
But as time progressed, like, that was probably one of my greatest experiences.
Okay.
And lastly, just try your best to, you know, develop as much life experience as possible.
Okay.
In any capacity, in any way you do, whether it's through employment, whether it's through volunteer, you know, whether it's through just making connections, meeting people, because, like, communication is paramount. Like, that is, like, one thing that in this job you can't fake.
Okay, that's good, man. And I think that's, look, I'll tell you what my vibe is on you. You are someone that is very calm, approachable, and the reality is that there's stereotypes, right? I was talking earlier about the stereotypes. Someone sees me with a shaved head, they'll be like, assume something, right? Someone may see you like as a big guy, you know what I mean? And you do have presence. They can be like, man, like, fear may kick in, or, you know, now that what could happen here. But when you start talking to people and you actually see that they're human beings, again, you can realize that your outcome can be literally presented in the way you want them to. So for yourself, the way you present yourself is very approachable. And I think it's amazing that Halton has someone like yourself that can represent on that level, man.
I appreciate that. Thank you guys for having me and the Halton Regional Police as part of this amazing experience. And that is, for me, the reason why, you know, I believe when policing, you have to be able to bridge that gap, right? Yeah. You have to be able to make whoever it is you're talking to or you're dealing with, that they can approach you. That, you know what, like, you know, I'm like it's hard to create a safe space in situations where you're high strung.
Yes.
But if you are to have, you know, the ability to give someone that outlet where, okay, you know what, like, I just want to speak to any of us, not just me, right? I think that's a trait that all officers should try to have, right? And you'll be amazed how many situations you will save yourself just by communication, you know, de-escalation, understanding people, understanding, you know, people come from different walks of life, empathy, all those things, respect, like those are not forgotten.
Right. Well, it's very evident, man. It's very evident that you know, you possess that. And like, you know, at the end of the day, like, I hear a lot of people talking about their careers in policing, and you know, I can see how much it means to you to make a difference, and I can see the passion. I can feel the passion that you have, man, and that's what's so amazing. So, to make this a little bit fun as we wrap up, what is one thing that you enjoy doing, or just if you wanted to share something that people may not know of you, even your own platoon members? Maybe it could be a favorite food. Maybe it could be.
I love chicken wings. I love me some chicken. I'm probably gonna have some tonight.
What flavor?
I'm a connoisseur, man. I'm a connoisseur. I love chicken wings. I love to eat. They know that though.
Okay. Favorite sport? Football.
Football.
Okay.
But favorite team?
Yes.
Is the Toronto Raptors.
Okay.
I grew up on I come from a very basketball-driven home, whereas my mom loves. We all watched basketball growing up.
Okay.
And it's actually the first sport I was actually introduced to, before even football. And then I don't know what happened, man. I started playing football. I fell in love with that too.
Yes.
But yeah, you know what? That's a good. They don't know that I used to play basketball before. I suck at basketball now, but that was the first love.
Nice, man.
Yeah.
Okay, so we got the wings in check and we got the games in check.
Yeah, we do.
Nice. Well, look, I want to thank you for your time today. You've been extremely hospitable. Again, every single person that we've met over these last couple of sessions have been instrumental to, I guess, the success of Halton, man, because you guys all share incredible stories, and it makes you all unique in what you do, adding to the community. So I want to thank you for your time on this.
Thank you, and thank these lovely gentlemen in the back.
Amazing.
Anything you guys need, please don't hesitate to reach out.
Well, we're going to take a selfie right now. Ladies and gentlemen, you've enjoyed this wonderful session today. Make sure to subscribe. Thank you for joining me in today's podcast. This podcast was created for protectors in the fields of law enforcement, executive protection, security, and anyone looking to level up their mindset. If you are learning from this podcast and you're enjoying it, please subscribe to our YouTube channel at The Sentinel Mindset. That's a zero-cost way to support us. In addition, please subscribe to the podcast both on Spotify and Apple. And on both Spotify and Apple, you can leave us up to a 5-star review. If you have questions for me or comments about the podcast or guests you would like me to consider on the Sentinel Mindset, please post all comments on YouTube. I do read all the comments. Please also check out our sponsors, thearenatoronto.com. The Arena was created to help all those in the fields of law enforcement, security, and all that achieve their fitness goals. I want to thank our producer, Matthew Doyle, and creative supports, Jaslene Singh, who help me with this podcast every week. We value your feedback and are here to support you. Tune into the Sentinel Mindset every week, where we look in the mirror to make real changes and explore what it takes to achieve greatness in your craft.
This podcast is brought to you by Executive Protection Lifestyle Canada. Make sure to drop by next week and don't forget to subscribe.